The Team USA Lacrosse rosters finally dropped, and boy do we have some surprises. On June 21st, 2023 in San Diego, countries from around the world will compete for the World Lacrosse Championship. But everyone knows the two countries destined to match up in this championship are Team Canada and Team USA. In 2018, USA got the better of Canada 9-8 in Israel on a last-second shot from Tom Schreiber. In 2014, Canada got the better of US 8-5 in what would be a shocking game for the US. Now in 2023, the US looks to repeat as world champions and fend off the talented Canadian team that always seems to find a way to compete. Today, I want to show you the Team USA rosters, give you my snubs and surprises, and discuss with you and predict how this all might play out in San Diego. I'm Jake with Lax Weekly. Let me know your reactions down in the comments below, and let's get into the video. Let's start off with the roster itself. On attack, we have Kieran McCardle, Rob Pennell, and Matt Rambo. Then we have hybrid attack/midfielders, who are Charlie Bertrand, Brennan ONeill, and Michael Sowers. At the midfield, we have Ryan Conrad, Connor Kelly, and Tom Schreiber. At defense, we have Jesse Bernhardt, Matt Dunn, JT Giles Harris, and Jack Rowlett. At LSM, we have Liam Burns and Michael Earhart. At the face-off X, we have Trevor Baptiste and TD Ireland. At goalie, we have Jack Kelly and Blaze Reardon. And at short stick D midi, we have Zach Goodrich, Danny Logan, Jacob Richard, and Ryan Terefenko. Before I tell you my snubs, let's talk about what Team USA coach John Danowski is looking for in his roster. Simply put, the coaches are trying to put the best team possible for who can beat Canada. Although there are other talented teams in the World Games, it's almost a certainty that the championship will be a USA-Canada game. So the coaches are doing whatever they can do to look through this lens. There's also a few qualities that are essential for every player on Team USA. Number one is versatility. Rosters are small, only 23 guys. The tournament is grueling, long, 60-minute games with short times to recover in between. So the USA needs guys who can play multiple positions to fill in the gaps if they need to. If a midfielder gets hurt, the coaches want an attackman who can step up and play that role seamlessly. If a defender is tired, the coaches want an LSM who can play close defense just as well. Versatile players are a massive asset on World Lacrosse rosters, and every coach wants guys who embody this trait. Number two is control. Unfortunately, the international lacrosse rules are not up to par with today's high school, college, and pro rules. There's no shot clock. The game is a running clock, and the pace of play is slow and methodical instead of quick and fast paced. Many times it comes down to the team who holds on to the ball more, as opposed to the team with the most dynamic offense or defense. In this case, two factors are important. One are face-off guys who can win you possession of the ball, and two are offensive players who can hold on to the ball once they win possession. Overall, international rules of lacrosse favor low-risk players who take high percentage shots and don't turn over the ball. And number three is the clutch gene. Being on this roster is a ton of pressure. Only 23 guys in the entire world get to represent the USA on that big of a stage. It means you need guys who thrive under that pressure and will be calm under all circumstances. Coach Danowski wants players who won't get flustered if they get down. He wants guys who know they can fight back. So now, who got snubbed? Well, to me, the number one player whose name I was so surprised not to see on this roster is Grant Emmett. In 2021, Grant Emmett won PLL Attackman of the Year, and he's widely considered to be one of the very best players in the game. And to me, I was pretty shocked not to see his name. He was injured in 2022, and when he came back, he did not look 100%. But when he's completely healthy, I'm not sure how many attackmen are better than him. The only argument I could see for not putting him on the roster is that in international lacrosse rules, there's no shot clock. Possessions are long and the game is slow. Grant is used to a more fast-paced game, whether it was when he played at Penn State or now with the PLL. He has struggled at some times against the best defenders in the world, but then there's other times where he's balled out against them. Like this one time he put Team USA roster player Michael Earhart on skates.
Amen. Whoa! Grant Emmett.
Overall, I think Grant could have been taken on this roster over any attackman not named Matt Rambo, or maybe in place of one of the short stick D middies. Right after Grant Emmett, the player I was also shocked not to see was Logan Wisniewski. The lefty sharpshooter from Maryland has been terrorizing every defense he comes across, and he even scored the game winner in a Team USA scrimmage. For my money, Wisniewski is the best shooter in the world right now, and I think you need a pure goal scorer on every Team USA roster. In 2018, that was Ryan Brown, whose 3 goals in the championship game against Canada proved to be all the difference. An outside shooter who can stretch a defense not only adds plenty of goals, they also create opportunities inside, since defenses have to press out in game plan. The only reason I see him not on this roster is because they already have a lefty in Matt Rambo, and I think you have to keep Matt Rambo on this roster. If Matt Rambo was a righty, I think Logan Wisniewski would be a lock on this roster. And by the way, you can join 3,000 other lacrosse players and join the Lax Weekly email newsletter packed with tangible tips on how to become a better lacrosse player. I'll leave a link in the description where you can go subscribe now. The next player I was surprised not to see on the roster was Connor Schellenberger. I've always been a massive fan of Connor's game, and he truly took the lacrosse world by storm as a freshman at UVA. I thought he and Brennan ONeill had the best chance of making the rosters as college players, but it was a toss-up for me about who would be taken if only one was chosen. I think Schellenberger brings a ton of versatility as he can play both midfield and attack. The only argument against him I see is that as a player, he's more well-rounded than specialized in one area. He has a good outside shot, good dodging ability, good feeding ability, but there's not one area that really stands out above the rest. He's just good at pretty much anything. On the other hand, take a guy like Brennan ONeill. Although he's a solid dodger and a feeder, his bread and butter is lefty shooting. At his peak, the guy can shoot lefty with the best of them. He's an X factor. Sometimes guys like Connor with a well-rounded game can be perceived as less of an X factor, since there's not one thing that stands out. But personally, I'm still surprised he's not on this roster. Another surprise is Team USA mainstay Marcus Holman. He's played on the last two Team USA rosters and has been a valuable contributor to both squads. He is one of my favorite players, but his PLL performance hasn't been up to par in the past few years. After being ranked as the number 7 player in the PLL's inaugural season, he's now slid to number 39 on the list. Rankings aside, Holman is a special player, and I thought he might bring some veteran presence to the group, but I can also see why Team USA wanted to give the spot to a younger guy who's been performing at a high level. Another pick is goalie Jack Kincannon. I think the goalies listed are hard to sub out. Blaze Reardon and Jack Kelly are some of the best in the game, but if you're trying to make a beat Canada roster, I think Jack Kincannon has a strong case to be on the team. He's known as being the best in the world at stopping close range shots, something Canada loves to do with their inside box style of play. He also had the number 2 save percentage in the PLL last year, and I thought there was a decent chance that coaches would take him. 3 other names that aren't snubs, but I'm just sad to see that are not on the roster are Jordan Wolf, Ryan Brown, and Miles Jones. None were even in consideration to be on this roster. Jordan Wolf retired after getting injured, Ryan Brown has also been very injured, and Miles Jones was cut from the process early on. At his peak, I don't think there's a better attackman on the planet than Jordan Wolf. He was too quick, too fast, too shifty. But after tearing his ACL, Wolf decided to hang up the cleats for good. Ryan Brown has also been plagued by injuries. It's so sad because he was such a vital part of the last Team USA roster. When he's healthy, he's the Steph Curry of lacrosse. He has the best outside shot out of anyone, and he can do it both righty and lefty. I hope to see him back in the PLL soon, and maybe as a veteran in the next World Lacrosse Games. Last is Miles Jones. When I saw him play in college, I was certain he was the future of lacrosse. I thought he would be a lock for Team USA in 2018 and beyond. Unfortunately, he was one of the last players to get cut from that 2018 squad, and his PLL performance hasn't been great as of recently. At his peak, who can stop Miles Jones with his big and physical play? But his shooting percentage and turnover woes haven't been fixed. Now I want to talk about 2 players that I'm very happy made this list. Number 1 is Brennan ONeill. He's the youngest player on Team USA and the only active college player to make the team. I'm happy for him. I thought this guy could play in the PLL after graduating high school, and I think he deserves a roster spot. I think it helps that the Team USA coach is also his college coach, Duke coach John Danowski. So John knows what Brennan is capable of. Brennan will face a lot of pressure being the only college player, but pressure is something he's been facing his whole life. He's been called the Zion Williamson of lacrosse and committed to playing college lacrosse as an 8th grader. As far as the clutch gene goes, Brennan ONeill certainly has it. Another guy is Charlie Bertrand. I am so happy he is on the Team USA roster. He's had a meteoric rise in lacrosse from a D2 player at Merrimack to helping UVA win a championship at the D1 level. And now he's a human highlight reel in the PLL, making plays all over the field. It's awesome to see a guy make this type of rise, and he certainly deserves it. He's performed every step of the way, and I think he'll prove himself in San Diego. So what do you think about the Team USA lacrosse rosters, and what video should I make next? I want to hear your reactions down below. I'm Jake with Lax Weekly. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.